Hey everybody, welcome to the In Demand Hairstylist podcast. I'm so excited for you to be here today. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a quick and easy episode. This episode is for the overwhelmed salon owner. So if you are an overwhelmed salon owner who has a team and you're having a lot of frustrations, let's just say a lot of frustrations with your team, and you don't know how to handle it. And this is affecting you in a lot of different ways. It's making you feel passive aggressive. It's making you feel stressed out when you go home because you have these things that are happening that you don't know how to handle, you don't know how to deal with. And it's causing tension probably in the culture, right? So I want to give you guys 3 quick and easy steps to handle difficult team members, right? Or challenging team members. First, I want to start off by saying the problems that you're having are probably not that big of a deal. And I'm not saying that it's not affecting you in a big way, because it probably is. You know, you're probably feeling tension in the workplace. You're probably feeling tension between that particular employee. You're probably stressing about it, not sleeping at night because you don't know how to handle these situations. Okay, so yes, it's probably affecting you, but hindsight, the situation is probably not that big of a deal. What's a big deal is that you don't have the skills or know how to handle the situation. So I'm going to give you guys a quick 10,000 foot view, but don't even worry about these things. I'm going to give you the 3 easy steps that you can do right now to clear your headspace and to start taking action on whatever the issue is happening in the salon right now. But a 10,000 foot view looks like having systems and structures in place so that you can handle these situations quickly, efficiently, and easily, right? And that looks like having a vision and a mission statement, clearly communicating that with your team, having standards and expectations, clearly communicating those with your team on a regular basis. Not only having standards and expectations, but having consequences if those standards and expectations aren't met. A lot of these things are put into an employee handbook, or what I like to call a culture book. Now, you may have an employee handbook. If you're anything like me, you don't even know what's in your employee handbook. That was me. I had an employee handbook. I had no idea what it even said in there. I just kind of copied off of what somebody else did. And it wasn't until I started using it as a tool that I really understood what was in my employee handbook and why it was in there. And really what an employee handbook is it just is a book that kind of upholds the culture of the business, which is why I decided to shift it. And with my clients, I call it a culture book. Okay, so that is hindsight. You definitely want to have one of those. You want to create time to have team meetings monthly, quarterly, with your team, clearly communicating vision, expectations, rewarding team members who are playing the game, right? Who are doing well and showing up to the plate, and, you know, having sit-down meetings, one-on-ones, having goals. All of these things contribute to training and developing high performers in your salon. And not only is it really great for the salon to have these high performers, but it's great for them. Part of your job as a salon owner is to grow and develop hairstylists and create a space for them to be really, really successful in their career. So there's a lot that goes into that. And the problem is we were never taught this. And so don't beat yourself up over the fact that there's this situation that's going on, and it might be something as simple as somebody keeps showing up not in dress code. They show up looking sloppy, like they rolled out of bed, but you just don't know how to handle it. Maybe you have a stylist who continues to show up and not have the tools that they need, right? They're constantly running around asking people for this or for that. And excuse me, my phone just went off. I put it on silent. Okay, so So yeah, you have a team member who doesn't have the tools that they need. Okay. Maybe you have an employee who is having inappropriate conversations behind the chair. Okay. All of these things are they a big deal? Yes, not really. I mean, these are things that happen in the salon. These are things that happen when more than one person is in a place, right? When you have a team and you have different personalities and a different dynamic, there are things like this that are bound to come up. What I find most of the time when I work with my one-on-one clients is that they don't know how to handle these situations because they don't want their team member to get upset. They don't want them to feel bad. And most of all, they don't want to not be liked. They're so worried about this team member leaving or not liking them or being upset or whatever that they're afraid to have these conversations that are necessary. And this is where leadership comes into place. This is a muscle that gets to be built, is that you get to step into your leadership. You get to have conversations that are empowering, because not having the conversation is actually letting them play small. Them showing up not looking up to par, them showing up not with their tools is holding them back from having the success that they could have. So having these crucial conversations are important. It's important to have these conversations. So I'm going to give you guys 3 things that you can do right now, because I know that if you're listening to this and it's resonating for you, there isn't just one situation that's happening in your salon right now that you don't know how to handle. There's probably dozens of little situations that are happening in your salon and have been happening in your salon that you have not handled, and they've piled up, and now it's to the point where you can pop off at any moment. You're, stressed out constantly. You're not sleeping at night. You are working even when you're not in the salon. You're stressed out about things. You're starting to get resentful towards your team. You start to get angry, and you're trying to pull all the extra work, which is making you even more angry, right? So I know all of these things because I've done all of these things, and I can tell you that's a rough way to go, right? Like, you don't want to be operating your business in this way. So the very first thing that I want to share with you is, first and foremost, to have conversations that are necessary within 24 hours. So this is one of the biggest things that I learned. Is it easy? Not really. Like, I still don't love having conversations, even after having a business for 14 years, going through all the things to build a team of 13 stylists, going through the process of delegating basically everything in the salon off to 2 managers while I moved 7 hours away, all the way up to selling my business. There were a lot of tough conversations that had to be had, right? And it's a muscle that gets to be built. And the only way you build it is by having those conversations quickly. And so why I say within 24 hours, this is something that I learned. And I think that it was something that kind of held me accountable. So when I would see something happen, the commitment was that I have a conversation with that person within 24 hours. And it's helpful for so many reasons. 1, it's a level of accountability. 2, I know that situation is going to be handled, or at least had a conversation about, within 24 hours. So then I don't have to sit there and think about and make up all of these scenarios that could potentially happen, right? So let's just say, for example, I hear somebody having a really inappropriate conversation behind the chair, and that's not cool in my salon environment, right? I don't appreciate it. It's not the professionalism that we want to show up in the salon. It's offensive to other people who are around, whatever it is. My commitment is that within 24 hours of hearing this conversation, that I'm actually going to pull that stylist aside and have a conversation with them about what I saw. And that conversation can be something as simple as, hey, Sarah, let's just say Sarah, hey, Sarah, earlier today, I noticed that you were talking with your client about X, Y, and Z. I know that, you guys are close and you guys have a great great relationship, but here's the thing, like there are other people all around you, and I don't really feel like that conversation is appropriate for the salon. Can we agree that the conversations, we won't talk about X, Y, or Z, or that the conversations moving forward are going to be more professional? And then come to an agreement, right? So it can be simple. Those are my words. You can use your words, but the commitment is, it doesn't matter how you articulate it. What matters is that you have that conversation within 24 hours. There are times when I had conversations and words had to like fumble out of my mouth because I had no idea what I was saying, or I was so scared to have the conversation that I like didn't even have the words to say, or I didn't articulate it perfectly, or I didn't feel like I got my point across. But the fact of the matter is, when you start having those conversations and committing to do it within 24 hours, you start to build the muscle. Not only that, but when you have the conversation within 24 hours, your team knows then. They know that they can count on you to have the tough conversations. They know that they can count on you to address the things that are happening in the salon, and you're not going to just sweep them aside. You're not going to sweep them under the rug. You're actually going to handle it. So if there's something that's going on right now, somebody showing up not looking professional. I mean, these are the things that my clients show up to me with. Like, they're like, so-and-so came in wearing pajama pants. So, okay. So you pull that person aside and you have a conversation with them. The other piece of it is have an agreement. It's not okay to wear this. The next time you show up wearing this, I'm going to have to send you home. Tough conversation to have? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. So have the conversation within 24 hours. If you can have the conversation right there, that's the best place to have it, right? But in some scenarios, like, I can only speak for myself, but there were certain scenarios that would happen and I would get really angry. Like, I'd be like so angry, and it would trigger me. And that in that moment sometimes is not the best time to have a conversation. On the flip side, I'm also somebody who will step away from a situation and let a couple hours go by. And then I'm like, was that really that big of a deal? It wasn't that big of a deal. I'm not even going to talk to them about it. Right. So I'm also the person who can like brush things off very easily. And that's not good either. So sometimes in the moment is when you have to approach it, because what would happen for me is I would let things kind of slide. And then the next time it happened, like, I would get even more upset. And then I would also like let it slide. And then it became more of a habit of just not wanting to have the conversation. So if this is you, that's okay. Like, just know where your weakness is and know where you need to strengthen. And one of the biggest things I can say is that having whatever conversation it is that you get to have within 24 hours means that you're dealing with it. It's dealt with, and it's not something that you're going to have to continue to deal with. And if it is, then that's a bigger conversation, right? Like, does this person even want to be working at the salon? Do you want them working at the salon? And that's like a whole different topic. So the second thing I would say is really take time to do this. I'm going to give you guys an exercise to do that will really be helpful in getting all of the things that are bothering you out of your mind and onto paper. So this is a 2-part activity. The second thing is, I want you to grab a piece of paper and I want you to draw a line vertically right down the center. And on the left side of the page, I want you to write everything that's happening in the salon that's getting under your skin. Everything that's happening that's bothering you, everything that's happening in the salon that is making you angry, everything that is embarrassing you, everything that is just irritating you, the things that are getting under your skin, the things that are keeping you up at night, the things that are making you upset. Okay. What this is going to do is it's going to get everything that's on your mind, all of those constant chatter, that constant like narrative that's happening in your head all the time, right? Get it out of your head and onto paper. So this gives you a chance to, everything that's bothering you, just get it out on the left side of the paper. Okay. Then I want you to take a deep breath, release, and then on the right side of the paper, I want you to write what you would love your salon to be like. I want you to write down, in a dream world, if everybody was operating at their best and your salon was operating at its full potential and it was playing out exactly how you dreamed, what would it be like? What would the stylist be doing? What would they be talking about? What would people be wearing? What would the salon look like? What would you be adding to it? What would the experience look like, feel like? What would the salon smell like? Where would the tools be? How would it look? Like, how would the shelving be? Write down all of the things that if your salon was operating at its very best, how would it be operating? Okay, so I want you to put everything on the left side, just put that aside for right now, and let's just get into a space of envisioning what your salon looks like when it's operating at its very, very best. Okay, and I want you to look at that list and compare the two. Where you're at now, the things that are happening now, and how you wish that it could be. And I want to tell you right now that it is absolutely possible. And the common denominator in both of those lists is you, right? You're the person running this ship. You are the salon owner. You are the leader in the salon. So you may be actually, believe it or not, responsible. Your leadership or lack of communication, whatever it may be the source of the problem for some of these issues that you're experiencing. But the beautiful thing is that you are also the source of how your salon can be, how you step in and show up, and the things that you do in the salon can actually shift you from where you're at to where you want to be and where you're going to. So that's step 2, is I want you to do this exercise. Now you might need to set some time aside at night. I really want you to dump everything out, especially on the left side, everything that's going on. And then once you get that list done, what you can really do is this becomes a tool that you can say, okay, these are the things that are happening. So what's a solution to this? What is this problem right here? What is the solution to this? What could be a solution? And these are things that you can even talk about with your team. Like, hey, this is what I'm seeing happening on a regular basis. Let's come up with a solution together. What do you guys think is this? Okay, so that's next level leadership. But first you have to get it out on your head, because no one knows how you want your salon to be run. No, you're the visionary. You get to create that vision, and you have to be the one creating the vision so that people can come alongside you and they even know what they are on board for. So that's step 2. Go through, make your lists. And then the third thing is kind of like a step 2 to this activity. And this is to choose one thing that you can do, one thing that you can implement, one thing that you can create to shift into what it is that you want to create. So just don't try and handle it all, right? Because a lot of these issues didn't happen overnight. They're not going to get fixed overnight. But what is the biggest thing that's bothering you right now, or the biggest thing that you know you need to change? I would either go that route, like what is the biggest thing that is bothering me right now and what needs to be done so that like I can seriously take a breath and I can seriously start to focus on what really matters in my business, instead of this one thing constantly nagging at me and grabbing my attention. So I would either handle that, or the other approach is pick something really, really small on your list. What is like the smallest thing that like you could shift tomorrow when you go into the salon? What is one thing that you could like shift and change, a conversation that you could have, like something that continues to be not working in the salon? Maybe it's like the way somebody's answering the phone, or maybe it's the way that you guys are confirming appointments. Like, what is one small thing that you could change in the salon? And that one small win then will maybe give you the encouragement and the confidence to be able to switch, like, or change or adjust or implement something new for the next thing. But what I will say is these few things will help you to get out of your head. I know that when I was a salon owner, I was in my head all the time. You have so many different plates that you're, running around with. You have, your business owner hat, you're meeting with your sales reps, you have your team, you have clients that you are, trying to make happy. And if you are a salon owner, you know that you have like 6 sets of eyes everywhere, right? Like if you are doing a client and someone walks in the door, it's like you see them, you feel them, you see them, you know what's going on everywhere. And so you're like hyper aware. And you can really be in your head a lot as a salon owner where you're really distracted by all of these things that are happening all the time. And not only that, but like it's really hard to turn off. If you're a salon owner and you know that, it's hard to turn off when you drive home, when you go home for the day. And try and go to sleep at night. I know there would be times I would be stressing out about, like, there would be an employee who just, did something careless during the day, or, something that happened with a client, myself, and I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, right? It's really challenging to turn it off. So these three things that I told you are things that will help you to get all of the chatter out of your head. And the last step, which is choosing one thing that you can do, maybe that's having a conversation. A lot of the times conversations, mend a lot of the issues. Communication, you guys, this is in and out of the salon. If I've learned anything over the last year, is that communication is so important in relationships with your clients, and most of all with your team. If you are a salon owner and you're not clearly communicating on a regular basis with your team about everything, over communicating, you're not communicating enough. I can tell you that. And a lot of the issues that happen is from lack of communication and lack of clarity. So commit to having conversations, commit to communication. If there's something that's bothering you, if there's an upset that happens, if there's something that you see that bothers you, have the conversation within 24 hours. I'm telling you, this one thing will switch and change the way you operate in your business. It's hard at first because you're not used to having conversations. You're not used to approaching situations and dealing with them right away, right? So it's a little challenging at first, but I promise you, the more action you take on having communication and timely communication, you're going to have a lot more peace of mind. You're going to have a lot more freedom in your business because you're not constantly stressing out about this one thing that happened earlier in the day, right? So communication within 24 hours. 2, the activity of making the list. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be a brain dump for you to get everything out on paper and to actually see, because once you see it on paper, your brain, you are so smart, your brain will start to find solutions. It'll start to just work and try and find solutions for those things that are bothering you and kind of convert it to what you desire in your salon. And the third thing is choose one small thing. Take action somewhere, right? Choose one thing that you can do. Highly recommend having a conversation if there's like something that's bothering you on your team. Highly recommend that one thing is a conversation. Maybe it's something else that you need to do in your business, but what is one small thing that can shift you from that list over here, like the shit list, right? And move it to what you desire. So what's one small thing? So I hope that this was helpful for salon owners who are out there who are feeling overwhelmed and like you're not qualified or equipped to be running this business. I've been there more times than I can count, and it's a really frustrating place, and there's a lot of self-doubt that can creep in. But let me tell you something. You are capable of doing this thing. You are capable of building and growing a team. You are an amazing leader. There are just some pockets of things that you don't know or that you're not currently doing. And these little things will help build your leadership muscle to be able to be a better salon owner and be a salon owner that people actually love to follow. So I hope that this was helpful. If it was, I would love for you guys to rate and review the podcast. Take a minute, rate it, write a review. This helps the podcast get out to more people. I would absolutely love that. Share it with a friend, share it with a salon owner friend who you feel like it would be helpful for. And I'll talk to you guys in the next episode.